Well, let's break down the debate and the way forward with Dave Keating, an American journalist covering politics in the U.S. and right here in Europe. Dave, thank you for joining us. So the consensus seems to be that there was no real winner here. You know, it is now the morning, well into the morning in the U.S. Where does this leave these two candidates today?
Well, Donald Trump really, this was damage control for him. It was such an incredible weekend. And you saw all of the, a lot of the Republican leadership abandoning him. So he really basically just had to not implode at this debate. He had to not give off a sense of panic. He had to keep calm. In that, he succeeded. And in that way, you could say there was no winner in this debate because he was kind of able to stem the tide. But for how long? That's the question. I think the most important viewer of last night's debate was Mike Pence, his vice presidential running mate, because Pence over the weekend was signaling that he may have been about to abandon Trump, that he may have been about to pull out, as a lot of the Republican leadership did. And so Pence had to be reassured by Trump's performance last night that there is still a campaign here, that there is still some kind of prospect of winning. And it appears he was reassured because he went on cable stations today and was defending Trump.
What about Hillary Clinton? You know, there were a lot of people asking, why was she holding herself back? Do you think she was? Was she saving up for the last debate?
She did seem to be holding herself back. She didn't bring up the specifics of the video right at the beginning. It was up to the moderators to do that. She was very vague about what the video contained. That itself is not surprising. She certainly doesn't want those words coming out of her own mouth. And she probably didn't want to start getting deep into the dirt because then you start bringing up her husband, and that's not... She wanted to keep the discussion from going in that direction. But that being said, there were a lot of things she didn't bring up, particularly about the hemorrhaging of support. At some point she said, a lot of Republican lawmakers, and then she said former lawmakers, but in fact that wasn't necessary. As of today, I just saw this statistic earlier today, it's incredible, 1/3 of Republican senators will not vote for the Republican presidential nominee, and 1/3 of Republican governors won't vote. This is a historically unprecedented situation, and for some reason she didn't bring that up last night, which I think was probably just an omission on her part.
Let's talk about this historic situation. You know, you do have top Republicans meeting in Washington today. Many of them have withdrawn their support from their very own candidate. Where does this leave them?
Well, I think right now, the ones who are left supporting Trump, which, if you do the math, is 2/3 of the Senate and 2/3 of governors, are just terrified about what else is going to come out. We have 30 more days. This man has lived his life in the public eye. There are rumors that there are even more damning videos coming from The Apprentice, his reality show. You have Mark Burnett, the producer of the show, is kind of sitting on potentially really inflammatory language and this kind of backstage footage. And right now he's banned anyone from leaking any of it. He is a Trump supporter, but he may come under intense pressure to release some of these videos because he has a lot of shows and he has investors, and people may be worried about a boycott of his shows. So the Republicans are now wondering, okay, maybe he stemmed the tide now, but we have 30 days to go.
Yeah.
What else is coming?
Just briefly, do you think either of them managed to win over all of those undecided voters?
It's hard to say. I think the key was, will those undecided voters leave because of what they heard in the video? I'm not sure that Trump, anyone who was very offended by that video, I'm not sure that he reassured them last night.
All right, we'll have to see what comes up in that third debate. Dave Keating with us here in studio with your analysis. Thank you very much.